Aloha, shining ones. Thought I would get a little bit of that. You can see like half of my kitchen. It's kind of like my kitchen disappears into the sunset. I kind of wish that that was actually true in there. um, so, as you know, there are many astrological activations happening for us all right now. And I have things I want to talk about, and then we'll also just see what comes out, because there's also some things that I've been wanting to say. So we'll see if they come out here or if they come out somewhere else. So today, Jupiter joined, this is the Jupiter finger. I was like, what is the Pluto finger? I don't know what the Pluto finger is, but Jupiter joined with Pluto. And this is the second time that this has happened. The first time that it happened was on 4/4. Some of you may remember the 4/4 gateway. We actually did a mass meditation that day. That was a really big event. And that's a big thing, you know. So Jupiter joining with Neptune is really bringing this second wave of expansion. Jupiter expands everything that it touches. It's been in Capricorn since the beginning of this year, and Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008, and so he's been. They are joining forces together, and Saturn is going to meet them in Capricorn tomorrow, which is really what I want to talk about. Saturn going into Capricorn, and Jupiter and Pluto together is expanding the transformation. This is the second wave. In April, we were coming together all to do a mass meditation for really quelling the fear that COVID was bringing up. And so this is that second wave. We have the third wave of this activation, this expanding the transformation energy, and those are just two key words. There are many other words that go with both Jupiter and Pluto. The third wave will be on November 10th. So, but what I'm feeling very inspired, what I'm feeling personally really in my body is I can feel Saturn coming back to Capricorn, which he's going to do tomorrow. Maybe has already happened when you're listening to this, probably. And so he's going to be in Capricorn for the rest of the year until right before the solstice in December, whether that's summer solstice or winter solstice for you. And so I'm a Capricorn and late rising Sagittarius. So I'm feeling this very much first house and sun, like, you know, in my being. And Saturn is one of my favorite planets. If you haven't heard me talk about Saturn before, yeah, I love Saturn. It took a long time, but did my work with effort over time. We became friends. Not to say that he wouldn't, like, you know, put me through the ringer if I was being disrespectful, but I tried to honor Saturn. So Saturn went into Aquarius in the middle of March. Is that true? Is that when it went retrograde? Saturn has been in Aquarius for some time. I did not plan that part of the talk to find out when Saturn went into Aquarius. He has been, I'm pretty sure it was like right, it was like, maybe it was right when, I'm pretty sure that's when it was. Because that was when the COVID really kind of erupted and we all got locked down in the end of March. So I could be wrong, but so now we've experienced the lockdown. We've experienced massive transformation, and it's like someone was saying today, it's like if you are still feeling normal, you need to have a look at what might be like gauze veiling your experience. Like you know, because it was the same for me, you know, like when the virus happened, you know, I was jokingly, not joking, saying I felt immune because I work from home. I'm pretty much a hermit. And, you know, and living here in Maui, it was not too bad. And, but when the death of George Floyd sparked the massive social justice uprising that we're all experiencing right now, that was a huge, I was not immune. I was not immune. And I'm still integrating all the changes that are happening. And I'm really excited about all of the changes that are happening, even if they're super uncomfortable. It's really feeling appropriate. I feel like, okay, so this might be the part that I wasn't going to talk about, but it's going to come out here. Okay, so I feel like that talking about, you know, here, our experience on social media, on Instagram specifically, many of us used to have the experience of getting on Instagram to dissociate, you know, like whether you had a job that you didn't like or other circumstances in your life that you didn't like, COVID came into our lives and really changed the job front for a lot of people. And I feel like that was a huge piece where it was people used to go to a job that they didn't like and be on social media as a way to dissociate, to disconnect from what they were experiencing in their lives and in their work. And then, this was kind of like, you know, pawing our way through. And it was, you know, that was a lot of, you know, all of this like outbreak and all of the news and everything and the numbers and everybody having their opinion about what was going on and whether it was some kind of government scam or something, you know, or cover up for, you know, all kinds of stories were flying around. And so it was a triggering, you know, social media, it became this kind of triggering space because it was kind of like, you know, you needed to really have your guard up if you were going to be, you know, you were on your phone more because you didn't have anything else to do. And then and there was all of this fear. There was all of this fear that was happening. That was where we did the meditation with the first Pluto-Jupiter conjunction, was to really quell the fear that was in the collective. And whether it was about vaccines or whatever, and or people dying, you know. And then when we had the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, David McAtee, so many, too many. And then you have to be, you know, getting on social media was like, you might see someone actually dying or getting beaten. And it was story after story. Elijah McCain, so many keep coming up. And so this was Saturn in Aquarius. We were seeing the revolution. Saturn came into all of the systems and structures of the collective of humanity. Aquarius is about the collective energy of humanity, and it's about radical change, innovation, revolution. And so Saturn dipped his toe barely even into the second degree of Aquarius before he started retrograding and is about to go back into Capricorn. So, and he'll be in Aquarius with Jupiter in the middle of December when we get to the solstice in December. So what this is all to say, and why this is an important time now to pay attention, because we've come to this place where wherever you are with this, we can't go back. You know, Saturn has shown us the path ahead, the revolutionary path ahead. And so now it's kind of like he's going back into Capricorn. I'm feeling into how I'm going to say these two things. He's going back into Capricorn, and now it's kind of like, okay, we've seen what needs to be done. And now, and this is on a personal level. I feel like for the systems and structures, Saturn going back into Capricorn, that's a different conversation. So just a little bit here is, I'm feeling Mercury retrograde too. Like, how do I say all these things? Saturn going into Capricorn for the system, for the structures, for the government, for the police. It could grip more. It could grip more. You know, that's like, you know, kind of like the dark side is doing its flailing dance where it's like pulling out all the stops and trying to get as big and scary as it possibly can, because it knows, it feels that the light is winning. And it's because the light is winning because more and more of us light workers are no longer willing to just stay in the light. More and more light workers are no longer willing to stay in the light. We see now that it is essential for us to go into the darkness. We are strong enough. We have been preparing for this. You've had lifetimes of training. And this is why you came to this planet at this time. You've had your incubation time to stay in that light space where you were ensconced, you were immune to politics, to governmental policies, to the violence that happens for Black people, people of color, and so much. And I'm speaking for myself as well. But now so many of us, what feels in integrity is no longer staying only in the light, in our little bubbles. To me, that feels sickening. Like, I feel it, that the idea of turning off the news, I don't have a TV, but of not watching the videos of police brutality, of not learning about the true past of our country. And I'm not perfect. I'm just in this space of discovery. And it feels passionate within me. This is the awakening. And it's like, I cannot go back to sleep. I cannot go back to sleep. I saw this picture today of this, it was a shot down an alley, and on the street, like the boulevard or something that's crossing the alley, you can see all of these protesters walking, huge groups of people with signs and everything. And then in between the cars on the alley in the street is a roped off space. There's a couple of tables there, and there are people having brunch. People having brunch, completely unaware of you know, sipping their champagne, having their beignets or whatever they're having, and completely unaware, choosing to look the other way, literally, from the protests that are happening half a block away. And for me, I can't. And I know for so many of you, because I've seen your comments and I've seen what you've started sharing, and it's like, I don't want to go back. There's no way that I could go back. That would feel like I don't even know. But so for me, it feels important for me to keep touching the wound, because I need to keep it alive, you know, because it's like now things are, you know, things is not the first week in June anymore. It's different, but it's different, but there is some kind of normalcy, pseudo normalcy returning, whatever normalcy is that we have now. And so for me, it's kind of like, you know, I was thinking this yesterday because I was over on Sean King's page, and it's just like, God bless that man for all the work that he's doing. They're releasing something new tomorrow for the Grassroots Law Project, which I'm excited to see. And it's kind of like, I had this thought where I was like, I need to remember, because there were more police brutality videos that came out, and I was just like, fuck, like this feels like the first week in June all over again. And I was like, good. You need to remember that this is a resource. I need to remember that I can go to Sean King's page, because he's just posting it, and there are other people who are too. Dante, just was his last name, but he's another one. But there are so many people who are continuing to post the continued police brutality that's continuing to happen, and so it's like, it's keep it alive, keep it alive within you. So it's a little soapbox about that. And so that's the revolution. Saturn has shown us that peak into, over the last 3-4 months, that peak, that window, pulling back the veil, seeing the revolution, looking out onto the battlefield and seeing what needs to be done. And so now Saturn comes back into Capricorn, and what I'm feeling about that is like, it's like, okay, cool, I know what needs to be done. It's going to be a long journey. Saturn is going to go into Aquarius for 2.5 years, and it's going to be this time of massive revolutionary change, because Saturn comes in, this is how I talk about it in my readings with people. Saturn, the element of Saturn is lead, and Saturn constricts, right? He has the rings around him, and so he constricts. And so it's like in that constriction, he also materializes things, you know? So it's like, if it wasn't for Saturn, my arm would not be my arm. It would be like, you know, ephemeral, shimmering, sparkling wave. But because of Saturn, like putting boundaries, condensing, materializing things. And Saturn is all about systems and structures, but they need to be built on our own authority, not the authority of others, government, media, police, institutional education, etc. So we're coming into this place where we're like, okay, we've been at the edge of the revolution, and now we know what that entails. So now we come back, Saturn comes back to Capricorn, and we say, okay, I need to make the plans. I'm gonna need a knapsack with a flashlight and sandwiches and a hammer and, you know, a tent and good hiking boots and or whatever, whatever it is that you're going to need. So over the next 6 months, over the next 5 months, 5-6 months, really, it's like we come into this place where we have this moment where we can intentionally design systems and structures in our lives that will be able to carry us as revolutionary advocates for transformational change, because that is what we're here for, light workers. No more of this like fluffy love and light and all of that stuff. It's like, no, we came here with shit to do, shit to transform, shit to change. And now we need to take the steps of, how do I manage my energy? Where do I need to set boundaries? Who do I need to say no to? Who do I need to clear out of my life so that I can focus on what I need to do? And we have one more eclipse that's coming here in Capricorn, this lunar eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse that's happening this weekend on July 4th. This is not the weekend to go to the lake and be on the boat and drink, or to the park and whatever. I don't know what kind of fireworks we can expect. I'm gonna be on my mat doing kundalini. I'm gonna be making my own fireworks. So all of this to say that we're at this place where we've seen, since March, we've seen the mask has been ripped off. The blinders have been ripped off, and we're able to see what is going to be required of us for this 2.5 year time of structural revolutionary change. And this is Saturn we're talking about here. So it's something like, as we build these systems within ourselves, as we practice good energetic hygiene, as we say no to, you're like, okay, I was thinking about this last night. It's like, I need to have strong, clear energy, and I need to have a strong, clear physical body in order to be able to transduce all of this energy that's coming in, and in order to be able to continue to witness the destruction that is happening, and to participate in the dismantling of these old systems and the psychological systems of white supremacy and whiteness that have been programmed into my brain as a white person. It's like, I need to have the stamina, keyword for Saturn and Capricorn. I need to cultivate the stamina so that I can make sustainable, structural, foundational changes in the infrastructure of who I am, in order to be the most effective agent of transformational change, bringer of the dawn, member of the family of light, for this great awakening that's happening, this 2020 revolution and ascension that is occurring. And so I need to go through, I'm in this process right now of going through my day. I'm like, I want to wake up at 5:30. I want to be on my mat I'm doing my Kundalini practice. I'm doing 40-day meditation with Jai Dave. And I want to be on that mat between 6 and 6:30 doing that meditation every day. And then I want to work out after that. And then I'm going to take a shower, and then I'm going to have breakfast, and I'm going to do my work, and then I'll have a smoothie, and then, and then I'm done. I'm not working after 7, which I think I'm working right now, but I really felt inspired to make this for you. So I'm really restructuring my days so that I can gain more energy, have more clarity, and have more stamina physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically, so that I can be that agent of transformational change that I know that I came here to be. So just think about that. You know, like, if you're listening, if you're still listening, you have come here to create massive change for our planet, for humanity, for the galaxy at this time. And we need to make structural, foundational changes within ourselves. And it's going to be in a different area of everybody's chart. You know, you can find where Capricorn is, late degrees Capricorn, you know. So for me, that's in my first house. But for you, it might be in your 8th house. It might be in your 2nd house. It could be in your 4th house. And the different houses have different things that they're about, you know. So if that late degree Capricorn is in your 2nd house, you're really like, what the fuck are my values? You know, I've felt change in my values. Now I need to build systems and structures that will be able to sustain the changes in my values. If that's happening in your 7th house, then it's like you have seen transformational, revolutionary changes in your relationships. And now you're really like, okay, now I need to take the next 5-6 months to step back and be like, okay, what are the kind of relationships that I want to build? I need to have relationships where my sovereignty is really honored. And I need to be in collaborations with people where it feels good and sustainable for the long term, and to create this revolutionary change. If this is happening in your 10th house, then it's about your career. You know, you've seen massive revolutionary reconstruction in your career and what you want to do in the world. And so now you're like, Saturn's coming back into Capricorn, and it's like, okay, so I need to really tune into my own inner authority and design and develop systems and structures that will help to support the infrastructure of my career to be a radical agent of change. So it's in a different place for everybody. If you want me to take a look at your chart, I can. And if you want to learn how to do this, the doors for Astro Empowerment are open. Module 1 drops tomorrow, and the doors close on the 6th of July. So what I really want to communicate to you guys is, before I lose all of the sunlight out here, we gotta have this lovely afterglow. That's over the island of Molokini, or yeah, Molokini right there. No, Molokai. I was like, Molokini. That's the island of Molokai right there, under the clouds. Anyway, so designing systems and structures that will be able to sustain you through the long term. And these are not some things that, you know, it's Saturn, so it's slow structural change that takes effort and hard work over time. And so, but you have 5 to 6 months until the middle of December to design, to build, and to implement, to test, and to refine these systems and structures, so that come winter solstice, you will be ready. You will have your systems and structures in place that will be able to sustain you as a revolutionary agent of change for the long term. The dragons agree. All right, guys, I love you. I hope this was helpful. I love to hear your comments every time, and I will share more about the eclipse soon. Good night.